Hey Pac-12 fans, and welcome to West Coast Breakdowns. This is my first video in a series called Calls of the Week, where I look at some of the most interesting and most clutch calls from around the conference. And today, I'm going to look at the touchdown pass that gave Cal a fourth quarter 28-24 lead over the North Carolina Tar Heels. Now, to set the scene for this a little bit, this had been a back-and-forth game before Cal threw an interception that North Carolina returned most of the way to the end zone before they were finally able to punch it in, giving them a 24-21 lead late in the third quarter, before Cal drove the length of the field on the very next drive. And what we see here is that Cal's got a 1st and 10 from the North Carolina 20, and they're going to come out in a quads empty set, which means that they're going to put a single wide receiver at the top of the screen and 4 wide receivers at the bottom. Now we can't see the 4th guy, but he's off the frame down at the bottom of the screen. The guy at the top of the screen is star receiver Demetris Robertson, and so North Carolina is covering him with a cornerback playing press and a safety over the top. And at the bottom of the screen, they're covering the 2 inside-most receivers with 3 defenders. They've got a linebacker inside of those 2 receivers, another linebacker outside of them, and then a safety over the top of them. Now, the reason that North Carolina is using 3 defenders to cover these 2 specific receivers is that these 2 guys are the closest to the quarterback, they have the most access to the middle of the field, the throws to them are going to be easier than throws to the other receivers, and so North Carolina wants to have both an inside-outside bracket on these 2 guys, they also want to have a short to deep bracket on these 2 guys, and we see that this is going to cover these 2 receivers very well. So the inside-most receiver, he's going to run a shallow cross, he's easily going to get picked up by the linebacker sitting inside of him. The guy outside of him is going to run an intermediate cross, and the linebacker on the outside is going to funnel into the deep safety on the other side of the formation. Okay, so this coverage structure obviously lets North Carolina cover these easy throws very, very well. But what it's also going to do is it's going to occupy 9 of North Carolina's defenders on one side of the formation, and it's going to leave the 2 remaining receivers in the quads one-on-one against their DBs. And from this point, it's just up to Bowers to make a nice throw outside and over the top of the guy covering Jordan Duncan, and Cal gets the touchdown grab and seizes the momentum that they need to win the game. Now here, I want to pause this play and look at how North Carolina's coverage structure created vertical seams that allowed this touchdown to happen. Now if we look over here, we see that the cornerback is held on the outside by the 4th receiver, who we haven't really seen up until now. And we also see how the safety, who is playing 3-on-2 over the 2 inside receivers, is held too far to the inside to get over the top of this ball. This is what isolates Jordan Duncan on his DB and lets Bowers put the ball where only his guy can get it to bring this down for a touchdown. So what we've seen here is how Cal was able to use their quads empty set to put a tremendous amount of horizontal pressure on the North Carolina coverage and to force them to decide which receivers they were going to cover the best. They chose to cover the 2 inside receivers in quads, but this left the outside-most receivers singled up on their DBs, and the rest is history.